Right, 10-4, I got 90-11 on one shot, consider it hot.
10-4, Mr. Weaver, consider it hot.
I got a fuse on fire.
Consider it hot.
10-4.
All right, 10-4, 743, consider it hot.
10-12.
Consider it hot. Consider it hot.
You guys do it. 10-4.
Consider it hot.
Consider it hot.
Consider it hot. Consider it hot.
Welcome to the January Consider It Hot podcast, the first of 2025, our
Indeed.
fifth episode total.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I hope some people are out there listening, having a good time with the co-op.
I know. I wonder how many listens we've got for the December podcast. Interested to see that.
I don't know. Last I saw was probably close to 100 or so, but this one I think will be popular for an unfortunate reason.
I think that you're going to tell us about that in our blinks, correct?
I am. The blinks, that's what we call our short little news bits. We'll start off with that. We'll start off with the big news, and we'll talk with Jeff Lane, CEO Jeff Lane, about it in just a minute. But there is a rate increase coming. Details about that in the Texas Co-op Power magazine. You know, Jeff talked about this in his annual meeting speech. He talked about this last year's annual meeting speech, and I think maybe even the year before that. Inflation has taken its toll across the board, and nobody wants to pay more for electricity either. They're already paying more for everything else. I know our grocery bills have gone up a lot. Everything's gone up a lot. Unfortunately, rates will go up starting with April bills with some February usage into the April bill cycles. So listen to Jeff and I talk about that in just a little bit. But look in the magazine, you will find full details about what that's going to mean for your bill. And then also on tvec.net/rates, you can see an actual rate calculator for what that will do to your bill. If you look at your usage and type that in, it'll tell you what the old rate was, what the new rate will be, and you can see what that's going to do.
That's a nifty tool.
Nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news, but we're hoping everybody has time to plan a little bit and to get ready for that coming, and it is unfortunately necessary. Well, another blink. It looks like youth tour applications are due on the what day?
So, of course, if you're a freshman, sophomore, or junior,
Yes.
And you're within the TVEC service territory, you could win a free trip to Washington, D.C. or Marshall, Texas this summer. Now is your dance to apply for Youth Tour, the trip of a lifetime, and Eat Trees, a new opportunity that I know we talked a little bit about in last month's podcast. But that's the East Texas Royal Electric Seminar. It's a 5-day, all expenses paid leadership camp held at East Texas Baptist University. You can learn more about these opportunities at tvec.net. The applications close on January 20th at 5 p.m.
Gotcha.
And those are all online, and you'll need to submit an essay, and you can find all the additional details, again, on that application form, and then, of course, on the website. And we've been sharing it across social media pages.
And every youth I know who has gone on this thing, they've had a really, really great time. And it's not just about having fun. It's really educational, lots of opportunities for leadership and just, getting out of the shell a little bit. That's a pivotal time in life to sort of grow up and get out and start seeing the world. So I think that's an amazing opportunity.
I definitely would have done it had it been available to me when I was in high school.
Yeah, exactly. I wish. So the kids these days just don't understand how good they've got it. Looks like scholarships are also about to ramp up. What's the deal with TVEC scholarships?
Yep. So beginning January 2nd, 2025, students can apply for scholarships on the website, tvec.net, until March 17th is when those close. They must complete the online form. They're going to submit a proof of residency and then also an essay. We verify that residency, and then we send applications actually to an anonymous scholarship committee. And they do the selection process. So there's a whole grading rubric that they'll go through, and we will not see any of those. It'll be all anonymous from a committee. And of course,
because that is different. That's different from previous years. It's just the school counselors doing the selection. We're actually going to be involved in the selection. We're not.
Right.
But there will be an essay and some tighter requirements on the scholarships this year.
Yeah, I think the counselors are so busy in those schools. And so this is just something we can kind of do to help maybe bring some more students in to apply for these opportunities, get the word out, make sure you let others know if you know someone who could use that scholarship. And then, of course, you can learn more about the guidelines at tvec.net/scholarship.
And it's also important to note, since we were just talking about a rate increase, those scholarships do not come out of the money that you're paying in for your bills.
Right.
That is actually funded out of what's called escheat money from the state of Texas. When people people don't receive their capital credits, when those go unclaimed, it's amazing how many of those checks have bounced back over the years and come back to us. There were no capital credits this year in 2024, but in the past, when those are not claimed, those end up going to the state and then get turned around in part back to us, and we can use them for things like scholarships and efficiency programs and those sorts of things. So just know the rate increase and the scholarships that we give out are not related. And if you think you might have unclaimed capital credit money or any other things, I know I've had some car overpayment that went to the state and some escrow money from a house that we sold that went to the state, and I ended up having to go through the claimittexas.com website. That will get you there to see if you have any unclaimed capital credits or anything else. There's money. You may have money sitting out there right now.
So you go to the website, you put in your information, you provide like an ID or something to prove your. Only
when you claim it. Yeah, you can look. You can look for any name, and it's like name and city, and there's just lists and lists of people have money out there, from pennies to lots.
Interesting. I'm going to have to do that. I know that I think I have some out there my mom told me about, so I'm going to have to go check that.
You should do that. That could help pay for those Christmas presents you just had
These
to buy.
kids' braces I'm about to have to get put
braces.
on.
Braces. Oh, my goodness. One other thing, this is government related. There is something called PURPA, and it is not purple. This is the Public Utility Regulatory Policies Act from 1978. And essentially this dates back to coming out of the energy crisis of the 70s. But the federal government created this PURPA to do some things like encouraging conservation and efficiency and reducing reliance on fossil fuels. There's just, if you Google PURPA, you can see all that came about. But over the years, they've added a bunch of other things to it, of course, as the federal government is wont to do. So recently, they've added some things to promote demand response programs, which is reducing peak loads, making sure that utilities are coming up with ways to reduce demand, and also, unsurprisingly, to promote electric vehicles. And so we have looked at these requirements from PURPA and are formulating sort of what it is that TVEC will do. The board is looking at that. And so part of that is welcoming comment from members. So on those two particular topics, you can find it on the TVEC news page, a link to what the two requirements we're taking comment on are. You can email PURPA, P-U-R-P-A, PURPA at tvec.coop. You can provide written comment to us also at the January 21st meeting, where we'll be talking about the rate changes. So you have a month of comment period. If anybody would like to talk to us about what they would like to see in any kind of demand response programs or EV programs, charging programs, that sort of thing. Another thing about EVs, Chris's column, Chris is not here. He is on vacation this week, but his column is about electric vehicles. And give that a read. If you're looking at EVs, it's kind of like solar, where it makes sense for some people, and it certainly doesn't make sense for everybody. Look online. There's calculators for what it means to be charging a vehicle instead of paying for gas and maintenance on oil changes and that sort of thing.
Right.
Of course, if you talk to your insurance agent, your electric vehicle may have higher premiums too. So there's a lot of things to consider, and energy use is one of those. So Chris has some information on that.
That's interesting. I didn't know insurance premiums were higher for EVs.
It depends on the car, and I think
like mileage and stuff that you drive.
I talked to my insurance agent, and he said it really depends, But what they're seeing is, it can be quite pricey to insure those things because they can be quite pricey to fix.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay, let's go ahead and play the interview with Jeff. Jeff came by a little bit earlier, and just to tell everybody about, straight from the top, about this rate increase, and it's a half cent per kilowatt hour and $5 on that customer charge. Doesn't seem like a lot, but of course it adds up, and nobody wants to do that. So we talked to Jeff, and he gave us the whole scoop on what's going on there. Okay, welcome to the podcast. Once again, multi-time podcast guest, General Manager, CEO, Jeff Lane. Welcome. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me again, Don.
We have some other stuff to talk about, but how are things going? It's almost Christmas, and I know you've been out hunting, but you said nothing good going on there?
Got some meat in the freezer. I've done my part to control the predators and hogs.
Oh, really?
And but the elusive trophy buck still evades me. Yeah.
Well, I'm not the mighty hunter as I maybe should be. My 5 acres is just not enough.
I bet you have some good ones passed through
They
there,
do. They I've seen them on the camera. They go by to the neighbor's feeder, and I'll just catch them with a camera instead. Well, that's not what we're here to talk about, though. Unfortunately, we're talking about rates, and nobody really likes to talk about rates. Electricity is probably the best value anywhere, but we still hate to raise the rates, and that is what we're announcing in the January magazine. So tell us a little bit more about that, and what are we looking at there?
Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, it is time for us to go up on rates. We have not had a rate increase since 2008. Mm-hmm. Periodically, we have a third-party independent consulting firm come in and help us look at our revenue and expenses and our cost recovery. And unfortunately, it's time to go up on the rates. We will be going up on bills beginning in April of 2025 for consumption that starts on February 21st. But the first billings on that will be in April. We tried to get around as much of the upcoming winter as possible without having the increase. So we accomplished that by moving back to February 21st, but we couldn't push it back any further without continuing to impact our financial position. So the first bills that go out with the new rate will go out in April, beginning in April. 25.
Since 2008, seems like a long time, especially considering prices now when I go to the grocery store or anywhere else. And I know a lot of this rate increase is based on just the cost of providing service, the cost of everything that we buy here. And if people look in the magazine, we've put in there a graphic with just a few examples of how prices have gone up on the actual materials we use. And, of course, everything else in the world has gone up something like 42%.
42-ish, yeah. A little over 42% since 2008.
At that rate, the actual cost of electric service seems pretty good by comparison. It has not gone up in all that time. And even this time, we're looking at, just for example, the residential rate is just less than half a cent.
That's correct on the cost per kilowatt hour. And
then $5 on that monthly customer charge.
Correct. I should mention also that we're going to do the increase in 2 phases.
Right.
So to minimize the impact on the membership. So the first phase is what begins in April of 25, and that is a $5 increase on the customer charge. So that takes that to $25 per month on the customer charge, and the cost per kilowatt hour will go up just under half a cent. And then again in April of 26, we'll go up another $5.75 on the customer charge, and there will not be an increase on the kilowatt hour charge at that point.
That's 2 separate items on the bill, and you mentioned that there was a cost of service study. How does that play into which parts of the bill go up and which parts don't, and how that is timed out and whatnot?
Yeah, well, what we do with the cost of service study is we look at our historical revenue and expenses to see if we're adequately recovering the costs. As you know, as a not-for-profit organization, any margins that we have above our cost of doing business gets allocated and returned back to the membership in the form of capital credits.
Right.
But the cost of service study looks at all of that and is intended to make sure that the cooperative is financially sound, that we can borrow money to make system improvements and reliability improvements when it's necessary. And so the cost of service study helps us normalize all of that and figure out where we need to be based on historical numbers and forecasted numbers for the future.
As a not-for-profit, as you said, we still have to make money to cover the costs, or we simply can't do the work, right?
That's correct.
We talked to Bobby White last month about capital credits because we didn't do a capital credit return in 2024, which was rare, and sort of, it's for the same set of circumstances, right? The costs have gone up and the revenue was not matching that. So at some point those do get returned, but we still have to be in the right financial position to do that. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's hard to return it if you don't have it.
Exactly.
And that's the position we're getting into. The inflation is has just erased the margins that we've had over the years. The growth that we've been seeing in our service area has been carrying us for the last few years. And what we've seen this year, beginning last year, which is 2023, and into 2024, we began to see a decrease in the rate of our growth, but the inflation is still 42%, right. Higher than it was in 2008. So we didn't get any relief from that perspective, and the influx of new revenue from growth has dropped off, and that's where we saw the divergence. And consequently causing a need for a rate increase. Another
thing you brought up at annual meeting, aside from the last two annual meetings, you've mentioned that this was inevitable at some point. You also mentioned that when we start to see it affect our level of service and the need for maybe more additional tree trimming or some other items like that, how does the rate increase position us to better serve the members in that way?
Yeah, well, certainly it gives us the revenue that we need to make the improvements. We can delay in system improvements, and we have had to delay system improvements just about every year. At some point, though, you get to a point of no return, and if you don't make those improvements to the system, you start having reliability problems. And so that's the reason for a rate increase, is so we can get that revenue, so we can conduct those and perform those system improvements and cut that right away that needs to be cut. We have been increasing our budgets in that respect, especially on right away. But it's for the last few years, it's been just enough of an increase to keep up with the inflation and not necessarily enough to help us cut more miles of line, cut more trees.
So the cost of trimming is going up.
That's correct.
As we're raising the budget for that.
Yeah,
wow.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Just an overall little bit of math. I ran these with 1,000 kilowatt hour bill is just under $10 increase on the usage. 1,500 kilowatt hours, $12. 2,000 kilowatt hours is $14 on the usage side. It's a pretty reasonable amount of increase, but at the same time, any increase is hard to swallow. So I think members will understand how that is going to go.
Yeah, I believe overall it's a 9.8% increase in our revenue, but it affects different customer classes differently, and there are fixed and variable components to the rate, fixed being your customer charge and variable being the cost per kilowatt hour. So if you're trying to calculate percentages for each person, it'll be different depending on how many kilowatt hours they consume in a month. And so consequently, we will have a rate calculator on our website.
That's right.
You can plug in your usage or expected usage, and you'll be able to see what your monthly bill is under the current rate, under the Phase 1 new rate, and under the Phase 2 new rate.
And if members have any questions, we're also planning a meeting that would be January 21st, 6 p.m. here at the office in Kaufman. What are we going to be doing for that? I know there may be some deeper questions in the math or in the methodology for this. Is that what that's about, and sort of what people might expect out of that meeting?
Yeah, so the board has already fulfilled their duties in approving the rate increase. So that part's done. So the meeting will simply be to go over the process at a high level for any members that want to see how that works. We'll have our consulting firm will be here as well as key staff, and we'll just be here to answer any questions that members might have related to this subject.
All the questions will be answered.
That's right.
That's all we can do as a co-op, just be open about what this is about. And speaking of which, we've been in the budget process for 2025. I know on the communication side, it's been looking at every possible way we could save money for the members. And what does that look like from your position at the top, where sort of managing all those system improvements and all the operations side and all taking care of customers on the member relations side and everything else? What are we doing to take good care of member money?
Yeah, so, in our mission statement, we say we're committed to our member owners to deliver safe and reliable electric power at a competitive price, with a strong emphasis on member service, community, and sound business practices. Yep. So we have to take all those things into consideration when we're talking about things like rates. We have to make sure that one, we want to be competitive, which we are very competitive. If you look at the last 3 releases from the Public Utility Commission of Texas, we are actually 3 cents lower than the average retail rate over the time periods that they published,
right,
which they did 2 in 24, I think, for June and September, and then they published one for December of 23. And we're 3 cents per kilowatt hour cheaper than the average rate for the providers that they've selected on that report. So
very good.
Just very competitive with the rate, which also is an indicator. If we're 3 cents below, there's a little bit of a hint there that we might need to increase for various reasons, but
right,
specifically for us, it's covering our cost of doing business. So very competitive, and we want to continue to provide reliable service. We don't like outages any more than the membership does, and we need to be doing things to the system to prevent outages, and we want to provide a quality member service. So we're thinking about all those things when we're talking about rates, and to the extent that we don't have the revenue coming in that we need, then we start having issues with reliability and service.
Well, that puts us here, January, starting off the year with just news. It's not good news or bad news. It's That's the way right. things are going, yeah. And I'm sure we will get lots of questions and comments, but that is where we are. Members should know where their money goes, and that's what being a co-op is all about. Any other thoughts as we start off 2025?
I'd just like to say that the board and employees have done a fantastic job over the last, 16 years?
Yeah.
Keeping our costs down. We've just run out of the ability to do that, and inflation finally outpaced us.
Right.
And so none of us want to do a rate increase. It's kind of a necessary evil, I guess you would say, to make sure we're providing the service that our members expect of us. So, yeah, look forward to hearing any comments and seeing any members that would like to attend that meeting.
Well, it's certainly shaping up to be a great year, 2025, rates or not. I know it's going to be a good one. And off we go.
Yep. Thank you, Don, for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming. I know it's hard to be in that spot where we got to raise rates, but thanks for coming by and talking to everybody.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, again, certainly sympathize with the fact that our energy bills are going up. I'm a TVEC member. My bill will be going up, same as everybody else's. But I also understand we have the costs involved. So with that, it is also more important than ever to cut energy usage where you can and control the energy costs to keep that budget in check, especially in the cold months and the hot months where usage goes up. Let's talk about that a little bit. What is this coming up on January 10th? Cut Your Energy Cost Day?
Yep. So January 10th, like you said, National Cut Your Energy Cost Day. Taking part in this day, it all starts with a plan. So make a list. Here's what we're suggesting that you could do. It's the new year. Make a list of things that you can change right away. These are things like turning down your thermostat or taking shorter showers. And then in the long run,
turning down your thermostat in the winter, turning it up in the summer.
Right. And I think 68 degrees is kind of the ideal winter setting.
Yeah, that always gets some good responses on social media. Like, we're not want to be that cold, but it really does. It really does work.
Right. And then work on making improvements to your home, like replacing old windows with energy efficient ones or weatherproofing your home to help lower those energy costs. Because with each improvement, you'll be one step closer to an energy efficient home all year long. And that could mean savings in the long run.
It does add up. If you save enough, you might want to celebrate by going out to eat.
I think I know a place that you should go.
Indeed. January's lineman lunch. I made a quick trip up to Terrell, just up the way, to a long-time standard place in Terrell to eat Pop's Chicken, which is not just chicken. It is a full-on cafeteria-style lunch place. And when I used to work in Terrell, it was a favorite of mine to go there, and also it was very budget-friendly. I noticed that cost has also gone up a bit. But it's still very reasonable for lunch. The fried chicken is great, and also everything else is great. The sides are really well done, home style, home cooking, and just fun to get in there. I talked to Paul Camacho about that. It's one of the places he likes to go. And, of course, with any lineman lunch, you know it's going to be a place that caters to the working folks because the people that get it done are in there eating. And it just was a fun visit and fun to go back because I hadn't been in probably 8 years. So definitely worth a stop by in Terrell if you're there and want some good home cooking. Pops it is.
I've actually had this twice now since I've heard from you about it. Yes, DoorDash, ordered it on DoorDash.
Oh, my gosh. Wait a minute. If you DoorDash Pops, that defeats the purpose on saving money.
Well, I didn't pay for the DoorDash.
Okay, great. What did you have? Did you like it?
I had fried chicken and then the okra. I liked that a lot.
Yes,
that was very good.
Okra.
And then mashed potatoes, the cabbage.
Yes,
really good.
Okay.
Yeah, a whole lineup. And then my boyfriend likes the gizzards. I'm not a fan of those, but he said they're very good.
If you're a gizzard person, there you go. The gizzards are for you. Very cool. All right. I did not know you had gone by there or had it delivered.
Right.
That's fancy. That's fancy stuff right there.
And nice serving sizes, too.
We have wrapped up 2024, and that means we have also wrapped up Operation Roundup for 2024. What has gone down? I think you put together a whole overview for this. What did that look like for the members' money? Right.
And I think also kind of important to note, too, is, of course, Operation Roundup money. That's a voluntary program.
Yes, it is.
And it's something that these organizations that we help, it's only possible with the help of our members rounding their bills up. As a cooperative, we're committed to community involvement, and we love being able to share with you just how far these pennies that you're donating every month can go. Participating is easy. You just round up to your next highest dollar, and those extra cents are added to the fund to help all nonprofit organizations who apply for a grant within the service territory.
Right.
December, just a quick breakdown, $20,000 was awarded to 4 area food pantries, $5,000 to Helping Hands and Maybank. And then grants were approved for Canton Area Radio Emergency Services, Forney Education Foundation, and Hidden Acres in Kaufman, which is a Christian camp and retreat center. As we embark on 2025, we want to share just a few of the ways that rounding up your bill has helped in 2024, like you said. So here is a breakdown. Okay. $478,500 donated to a total of 134 organizations just this year. If you're wondering how we're helping in your county, roughly 65% of funds were provided to projects in Kaufman or Henderson County, 33% to Van Zandt and Anderson County, and then the remaining went to Hunt County. So very in line with the populations in those areas. Our largest contribution we talked about last month, $168,000 was given to 57 area fire departments, $46,000 to food pantries, just a little over $57,000 to family resources. That's like the Genesis Center, Helping Hands, and then local Salvation Army service centers. We awarded $16,500 to 5 district education foundations, $30,000 to programs dedicated to children's advocacy. Oh my gosh, I said not saying that word right. Children's advocacy.
Right.
There we go. Nearly $10,000 to help with projects benefiting veterans, $16,000 of special needs to a total of 4 counties, so widespread there. That's like the Texas Ramp Project and Be Happy Dayhab. And then there are many other organizations that were awarded grants. You can always find a breakdown of them all by purpose in the Texas Co-op Power magazine and a full list with amounts on our website. We want to say thank you to our members, of course, for rounding up your bills each month. The average of 50 cents per month has helped local nonprofit organizations in big ways. We cannot wait to see where those dollars go in 2025.
Right. And it's so fun when we get to talk to these folks about the impact that money has. I wish members could all be, on our shoulders at the time, but it really is a big impact. So great job, everybody. I
think that should be my resolution, to get some more insight and photos and stuff to share with members about those funds that we
really show off what you do out there, people. It is great work for literal pennies. And
so many different various types of organizations.
Some more stuff in the Texas Co-op Power magazine in January. Be sure and don't toss that thing. Have a good look through. It's fun to sit and read. It's probably good for your brain. Throws your brain to read and expand knowledge. Sit down, enjoy some cup of coffee and Texas Co-op Power magazine. A fun thing about bears returning to parts of West Texas. I did not know there were bears out there, and I have been educated. The return of some bears kind of reminded me of some mountain lion sightings I've seen around here. Did you see where a Lindale, I think it was, police officer hit a mountain lion?
No.
That is crazy. I think, wait a minute, my kids are playing out in the woods. Maybe I should be a little bit careful. You never know what's roaming out there. Okay, and then that's not in the magazine. That was for free. That was just bonus content.
Oh, nice.
There are bears, though. There's the energy quiz. These aren't difficult, but we'd love for you to participate. When was the solar power cell invented? That's in the quiz. That's a $100 win for somebody. $100 off your power bill. For winning the energy quiz, the Texas Co-op Power Kitchen features soup recipes, perfect for this time of year.
Love a good soup.
A good soup. The featured one, I think, is a pozole, which my wife likes to make a version of that is very hearty and wonderful.
Yum.
Chet Garner, you know that guy. He's all over the state of Texas doing crazy stuff, and he had a feature in the magazine about the largest pecan. The roadside attractions of the largest donut or the largest ball of yarn. Texas, of course, should have all of the largest things. And the funny thing he found was the largest pecan located in Seguin, Texas, down there where they do the Lineman Rodeo.
And we talked about how they have a ton of pecan trees down there.
They do. It is the largest pecan as well. I think it was 16 feet long or something.
Holy moly.
Yeah, you could live inside that thing. Is that it?
Well, and of course, look for your account number.
Right. There's also the other opportunity to win is if your account number is hidden, not so hidden. They're pretty easy to find. You just have to know your account number. But that's another way you could win $100 just for opening up the magazine. We really value Texas Co-op Power and the ability to get information out to everybody for very low cost. The other thing that's gone up really expensive is postage. And so having that statewide magazine printed and mailed is super cheap compared to even dropping envelopes in the mail. It's got advertisers in there that help support that. So enjoy the magazine, read the magazine, and check out what we've got in there. It's great information all around. Well, it is getting colder. One thing we like to stress is safety. What is this 4 Ps of winter safety?
So people, pets, pipes, and plants. We'll be sharing this, of course, in social media pages, too, and I'm sure in a newsletter. You're going to want to, for people, minimize time outdoors, prepare for power outages, and then this is one that really touches the heart. Check on elderly people and those who are vulnerable to make sure that they're okay during these times. Pets, keep your pets warm, dry, and indoors as much as possible. Ensure their food and water does not freeze. You want to make sure that also you limit time outside and keep them bundled up. Cuddle with those fur babies.
I would add to that also, if you have a heat lamp out in the barn, keeping the chickens warm or whatever, just make sure that thing is away from anything combustible. You hate to see a barn burn down or even a house by a bursted heat lamp bulb or something too close, kind of like a space heater. You just don't want to burn something up with that stuff.
Yep. We talked about that, about the fire safety for around holiday time and these times of years are so preventable. I would also say another P.
there's an energy efficiency tip there too, because pets can stay pretty colder than we think they can. A lot of people leave those heat lamps on all day long. I've seen them in barns and going, just driving through around to my house, and I think, man, those 200, 300 watt bulbs running all day do add up. So if you've got some kind of timer for that, or if just keep in mind if it warms up to above freezing and the animals are fine, turn those lights off. Also, another energy efficiency tip, but safety as well, is pipes. Insulating your pipes if possible. Yes. Opening up those sink cabinets to expose pipes to heated air, and then disconnect hoses and turn off water to sprinklers. I think that's one some people forget to do. Oh, yeah, for sure. And then plants. So, this would actually be a great one for your wife to talk about, because she's the plant person. Yeah, a lot of the plants move indoors when it starts freezing. Yeah. Know their temperature thresholds, and then if possible, cover them before cold weather sets in to help retain some of that heat. I don't know what she's doing, though. She has a lime tree on wheels, and that thing's it keeps getting bigger. Pretty soon, we're going to have to move out so the tree can go inside, and that's a problem. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's not good. You get replaced by limes. That's added to the list. If you have a plant person in your household, you know the drill. Well, that's January. It's winter. And, we're all going to get through it. 2025 resolutions? Apparently it's going to be save energy for sure. And probably lose some weight. It's just the perennial need for health and fitness and, a new start to a new year. It's always good. There you go. You? I did decide one. Oh, what is it? So I do this app, the Holy Bible app, and then I do a read 12 minutes a day of your Bible, and you read it all in a year. But last year I skipped some days, so then I had to end up kind of reading like 36 minutes. And so I'm just going to try to really do that daily, every single day. That's my goal. So the lunch break or something, just read through the Bible in a year. That's a great plan. Yeah, it'll be my third year to do it. Very cool. We will encourage you along the way. That's good. So can we ask you on the podcast every month, hey, did you do your... Yeah, right. How's that resolution holding up? Don't talk about it. We don't want to do that, because then I'd have to talk about weight on it. Okay. Maybe we'll just edit all that out. Okay. Just kidding. All right, Leigh, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. Thanks for listening to the end of this thing, and take care as you go. Can't wait to serve our members in 2025. Absolutely. See ya. Bye.